Hi, here I am. I'm just waiting now that the people will start coming to this design talk live. So let's wait a few minutes. At the same time, I'm checking on my computer if everything is fine, so that it looks like it is. Okay, my hair's not so bad. I should go and have a haircut again. And most of all, also my beard, my mustache, I should start cutting a little bit. They're a little bit too long. And I will do it very soon. Okay. Hi. First people are coming. That's nice. So, you guys, did you go back to school? Are you back at work? You still on vacation? I think that by now everybody's back to school, back to normal life. Even if with the COVID we have to stay more at home, we have to wear a mask, we have to be very clean with our hands and very careful. But good afternoon, good afternoon. And but I think that everybody went back to the almost normal life. I did already. Now it's almost 2 weeks. And between smart working from home and working at work in our technical center, of course, there is a mixed solution. Okay, now we are 7. Let's wait a little more. He said the 2 minutes. Okay, so that in 2 minutes we will start the subject for today. I'm taking a gap year for work experience. I will then do my final year. Okay, that's nice. That's very nice. So you have a 1 year like a stage or a real working year before you go back to school and you complete and you finish your school. That's nice. It's always a very good experience. That's what I'm trying to organize with my boys that are 16 years old. So next year they could start something like that in Italy, and we are looking into it, how to do so that they take 1 year off working or going into another country, make such important experience, and then go back to school to complete before they go to university. Those are very good opportunities that today are very easy to do, but that back some time ago was not really possible to do. Okay, so 1 more minute, and then we will start talking about the subject of today, which is design to cost. Design to cost, the magic word, the magic phrase that a lot of people use, especially in design companies, in big major companies like the one I work for, or I used to work for in the past. When engineers come to you and say, we're gonna make a very nice design to cost, you will see. You're gonna make the right car, the right price, with the right design. And when people tell you that, you feel good. I mean, if you don't have much experience, you say, wow, that's fantastic. We're really gonna cooperate together to make a design to cost, which is what also we learn in school. And that means that we can really start making something that is mutually, shared, and everybody will be happy. So let me read the comments. I'm 3 automotive question from India, getting opportunity for shipping work would be any different that it used to be pre-COVID. I think that the internship, because of the COVID, is a little bit more difficult. I have no idea, to be honest. And also because I am not anymore part of the people that were internship tutors at work, because I moved on something else. Therefore, I am a little bit detached from this activity. Okay, now we are 8. Let's start. So I'm sorry, I will not read your comments right away because I have lots of interesting things to tell you. So I will be more concentrated on the camera, which is my phone. Okay, sometimes I will watch on my computer to make sure that the line is always on and I'm not talking to anybody, I'm just alone by myself. Okay, so now we are 10. Let's start. So design to cost. design to cost, it's something very good, because you know that when you make a design for any product or any car, if you are able to make it for the right price, that means that that project could be a killer one. And that means also that that project will have the right cost, everybody did their own part, and nobody, and there is no excuse to say that on this point of view, the project was well done. Then, of course, there is the market, moment when we go and put that project onto the market. And then we'll see how the market will answer to that. In some cases, the market will answer really well, and the project is super well sold. In other cases, the market will reject it, and they will not sell too many of those products or those cars. And then the question is, but how is it possible that this happened even if we were all agreeing we did the design to cost? So today I want to talk to you about design to cost philosophy, because this is something that's always very fascinating, okay? But at the same time, it's very tricky. And now, because I have a little bit of experience, years of experience, I can tell you what do I do really when people tell me in the beginning of a project, we're gonna do a design to cost, because this is a design to cost project. The truth is that design to cost can be in reality negative if we just take it for what it is, or for what it is presented by the engineering department. Now, this is not an attack to engineers or engineering department, not at all. But let's analyze more or less how it is, according to my experience, the design to cost. I did few projects since 20 years ago where we had design to cost was mandatory, because we had a very strict economic balance to keep in doing that project. And when you talk about money, of course, everybody have to make an effort to make sure that whatever you do with your job contribution, it will always stand into that price range or that cost range, so that you don't make the cost explode, and therefore the real cost of the car, the product, or the part that the company should earn. In general, every company, every car company would like to earn between 5 and 15%, okay, on each car. This means that if a car is 10,000 euro or dollars sold on the street, 5% of that 10,000 is the real gain for the company, after all the cost, all the fixed cost, okay? The projects, how much it costs, tooling, investments, the people, the work, everything. So, if you understand that, we know that for every project, and this is very normal, we must keep that percentage according to the type of project and the type of price of that project. We should try to keep that little margin so that the company can make money on each car, right? But there's also another thing that you have to know, that because we want to make that margin, you have to sell at least a number of cars per year to make sure that you go over the, how can I say, the level to make really the money. If you make investments for a billion, for 70 million of euros, and you were supposed to sell 250,000 cars per year, and you sell only 100, then you risk not to make money, even if you make 100,000 cars sold per year. So this is just to give you an idea of what it means, this balance between the cost, the gain, the cost of the people, and therefore how we had to make that car so that the engineering, product planning, product marketing, design, we have a very important role in that. They should do the project so that the cost of everybody, okay, for their contribution, it's really under control. And somebody is talking about the Dacia, and it's true. Dacia is well done, it's well designed, it's a beautiful design, I mean, people like it, as great content, okay, a very fair price, okay, for the quality that it is offering, and we are selling very well Dacia, and therefore making some good money out of the Dacia brand. So now let's come back to design to cost. So, but how does it work? So every time I was in meetings before in Fiat, now in Renault, but also for the Chinese brand GMA, for which I'm working right now, the engineers will always tell you at the beginning of every meeting, when we are really at the start of the project, when we have a briefing and we start analyzing all the projects in a macro way, okay, before going to details and before we start designing, and everybody starts talking. It's basically philosophical moment, and then they tell you, well, design is here today. We'd like to tell you that we're very happy we work together, and this is a very good project to make design to cost, so that the efficiency will be perfect and our project will come out in the right timing with the right cost, and everybody will be happy. Well, at the beginning, when you listen to that, you say, okay, I also want to do design to cost. It's not that I'm here because I'm a designer that I want to make a, I don't know, a dashboard or a steering wheel with my design go and cost from 5 to €1 million. Of course not. I want to make the fair price for that project. The problem is that when they ask design to cost and they talk about design to cost, very often engineers have a sort of a list, a checklist, okay, which is a document. And their managers, because then there are meetings that are organized in front of the work in progress of the project, that are like every 2 weeks for several months, during which every element is, how can I say, it's under observation. And they say, be careful because your dashboard is costing, right now, with what you are doing, it's costing 10% extra of what our supplier said. Or, take another example, the seat fabrics is too expensive according to what we decided the cost should be. So they control everything of the project, like with the checklist: front bumper, rear bumper, side doors, deco parts on doors, windshield, glass area according to the size and technology. Everything is listed and everything has a price. So you understand that if you follow this checklist 100% and you show that you are sharing the same philosophy with no problems, and you make all the modifications they are asking you to do during those meetings, which means during the projects, while you are making the projects, you go back and forth and you make lots of modifications because they are telling you that you have extra cost on every little thing, every little element of your design. Then of course you will make the design that will cost exactly like the team is asking, okay, or the platform engineering director, okay, that is the person that has really the big budget of the whole project. It's true, but what about the results? What car do you end up with? Do you think that you end up with the same spirit and the same feeling of the original design that was accepted and of the first model? But let me tell you, for sure not. Because there will be so many changes just dictated by cost and ruled and controlled in a very aseptic way, which means with no feeling whatsoever for the overall project, that you start degrading the project. And when you realize that at the end of the design to cost process, it is just too late because the time went by and you don't have more time to go back and make corrections. Therefore, your project starts going into a very difficult road before coming to production with lots of questions about, but is this really the project we want? Are we really sure that with this project we will sell it as we think and therefore we will make money with? So design to cost, it's very tricky, but it's very good. So I know that this is like a contraposition between those two words I used, very good and very tricky. It's very good because we have to control the cost, of course. You know, you cannot make a small Fiat 500 cost like a Lamborghini or like a Rolls Royce. It's impossible. And you can never ask a Rolls Royce to cost like a Fiat 500 because it will never be a Rolls Royce. But that's the point. How to find the right balance without impacting on a high cost for the project. And that's the question I always asked myself, because I always was against design to cost when it was presented like that by the engineers. When I see that checklist, to me it's nonsense. Maybe I'm wrong, but on my project, to me, it was basically nonsense. So in reality, design to cost has to be called in a different way, with a different type of action and a different type of design strategy to make sure that you still are very careful about the cost, but that you have the freedom within the team to manage that cost. And that's why I often talk about design cost management, which is very different from design to cost. Because as we said before, design to cost is when I have a list, okay? I have a list with all the elements with the cost, okay? And that's like a cage. I have to make a front bumper for $100 and that's it. And if it's 105, no, you take off that 5. This is not good, because if I am forced on every single element to be in that cage, I am just making the same car quality of the model before, the model we had before 5 years ago, because those checklists come from old projects. Because of course, from an old project, we know everything, and we know exactly the cost, difficulties, technology, the quality problems. We know everything, and therefore, what they do? They just try to optimize what they learn from old projects, and they want to apply those rules in a very transversal way so that they can control the new project. In my opinion, design cost management is slightly different and much more beneficial for the project. Because when it's design cost management, the first thing I ask is how much for you should cost the interior design as a budget, and how much should cost as a budget the exterior design. How much money do I have in my pocket, okay, to make the whole exterior design? And how much money do I have in my pocket to make only the interior design? So when they answer you to that, which happened to me, so it's there that I discover the difference of the two approaches or two strategies, okay? They say, well, you know what? You have around, I don't know, let's just say $500 or 500 euros to make all the plastic parts on the interior. And then you have 600 or 400 to make all the exterior, including the front light and the back light. Okay, so when they tell me that, I know that according to how people like designs today in the street, how society changes, how trends are changing, how fashion is changing, how the quality perception of a car is changing, how the people's needs are different from today, from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I know that all those parameters are not the same of the old project of 5 years ago. Therefore, design to cost, it's a big limit because it's like a flat activity on a project that had a great opportunity. But if I use the design cost management, I have the freedom to take that budget and decide how to spend it for my responsibility field, which is design. So if I have a 500 for the interior, I have to decide how much money I want to put on the dashboard, how much money I want to put on the UX design, where we have all the nice science fiction animations in front of our eyes, so that maybe that will be more expensive than the classical, cluster design with the needles we used to have until 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I know that I can make the rear door panel maybe cheaper. So you understand now that because of that design cost management, I am managing how I want to orientate the design and the cost of the design of those elements of the interior to make sure that when the client opens the door, he's not deceived. So of course, on the dashboard, on the UX design, technology, and on the front door, we're gonna put the big packet, okay, of budget. We're gonna put more money there because 90% of the time it's only the driver in the car. Therefore, it's his house, all that front area, and that one must be well done. Then I can say that in the back I can be a little bit cheapy, a little bit cheaper, but always with the quality design, because there is one transversal cost, it's the quality, real quality, which has a cost. Therefore, if I respect the quality design inputs, and then I play with the cost of the elements between what is hot, which in our case, the front of the interior, and what is a little bit less hot, the back, where almost nobody goes, or the trunk area. There was a period we spent a lot of money on the trunk, and then we start asking ourselves, but does the client enjoy the trunk so much that we had to spend all that money? That was stupid. That was useless. So the trunk has to be treated like the trunk. Of course, functional, the right space, at least a good, how can I say, material that covers all the mechanical parts or the steel and fixing bolts and stuff. That's okay, that I agree. But we cannot put carpet in the trunk for every car, because that would be just wasted money. But thanks to design cost management, I take that money and I move it in the interior somewhere else. For example, the textile, so that I can have a nice textile, maybe with some colors. So a little bit more expensive textile because there will be more colors into. And sometimes you do a textile with 4 or 5 fibers, as a cost. But if you have a 7 or 8, you can have more design, more patterns, better design, more fashionable design for textile. Therefore, you have to spend a little bit more money. But then you can have the lower part of the dashboard that will be hard plastic, so cheaper. And have only the top cover that is a little bit softer, which is a different technology. Because we add another skin with a soft foam inside, so that when you put your hand, it's not very hard, but it's a little bit softer, which is better quality. Also, this technology gives us better results in terms of color plastic, okay, because it's much more matte, more opaque, and not like plastic. Sometimes a little bit shiny because it's cheap plastic. So there are a lot of things that as a designer, a design management manager, I can do, giving a good freedom to designers, okay, and not asking them, you cannot do this because that thing must cost 100, and you cannot touch that door's handle because it has to cost this much. With the design to cost, in reality, we are all like with the handcuffs, and we, at the beginning, we do what we want, and after it has been accepted, the design to cost comes in, and then we have to take our project and lower it in terms of quality and design. And therefore, at the end, we will have probably a car that is okay, but is not the nice one we chose in the first model. Versus design to cost management, or design cost management, then in that case, no, I have the freedom because I manage my money, I manage my cost, I manage my budget, and I will spend all of it, but I will orientate better where I put the money. For example, on the exterior design, I remember 5 years ago when we want to have a LED technology for the front light or just a side indicator on some small cars, it was impossible. I know it's too expensive. Well, today, thanks to cost design management, we manage that we put a lot of money on the front light and the rear light because we do want to have the light signature, which is the signature of a brand. We want to have that technology, and we want to have also a technology that gives us a good flexibility in our creativity, because the front lights are not anymore just rectangular or just squarish, with the big light bulb inside. Today, with the LED and guide lights and full LED technology, we can do lots of different shapes. Therefore, you can give a real distinctive front design, front face design to your car, and you can build a real new brand image, a brand face for your brand. Okay, so you put the money into that, and everything else can be cheaper because a bumper will be always a bumper made of plastic. Maybe you put a little bit less paint, okay, because paint costs. But if you have a nice grille and you have the nice front lights with the right technology, you already did 50% of the job for the front design of the car. And the same thing from the back. In the back area of the car, on the exterior, you want to make sure that that character comes out. And to make sure that it comes out, if you put LED technology in the front, you can have a sort of a mix technology with some LEDs in the back also, so that you can have yet design lighting signature that will give a full character to that car, that when it's at night, everybody knows that it's that car. It becomes special. Okay, so cost management, all right? Design cost management. Now, what happens when somebody like me, that is a design manager on production projects, goes to those meetings, where we take decisions, where those are important meetings where it's a work in progress for the project. Therefore, every meeting, all the difficult things are said, okay? We tell, each one of us tell where we have difficulties, and then we have to take a decision for problem solving. Problem solving, very important. Okay, so when I used to tell them design cost management, they would be scared because they felt like they were losing the power of controlling that cost, because it was not anymore on a checklist, but was on a budget management for area, okay? Interior front area, side area, back area. And on the exterior, front, sides, back. So it was a little bit difficult, but what did I do to make sure that they would understand that we were very serious and that we were really controlling the cost? Every time we made the modifications, every time we imposed, every time we really fighted for to have and keep that feature that had a higher cost, I was always updating one slide with the real cost of everything we were doing. And I was putting the total on the right area, lower corner on the right, the total of the budget cost, because all the parts of the front area, the back area, the side area. Same thing for the exterior. And when the cost was really more expensive, I would write in red where we were, saying what percentage, which was the delta, the extra money that we were asking. And very often, we were like 1% or 2% more expensive than the budget. And this does not mean that you have to erase that 2% or that 3%. No, because when you do design cost management, then you must ask marketing and product planning to support you to see if the fact of spending a little bit more money on some features, it really adds a value to that product. Because if it really does add a value to that product, then the real value when you sell the cars is double. So sometimes it's much better spend a little bit extra and gain much more money afterward, because you will sell very well, because everything is really justified. And the market really likes that. Much better than not putting it because you are saving money and then discover that your competition is doing it and you are not doing as well as your competition. So those are very tricky situations because of course there is money involved. It's always very sensible and nobody really knows what's going to happen, but we can feel. And not as designers, of course, as designers, we always say, it's so beautiful, we have to keep it. But we need the expert, okay, the expertise. In this case, it's marketing people or product planning people, aspects from markets that will make an analysis also of competition. And they can say if to have a dashboard that is more expensive because of that detail or because of that technology can be a winning point or a losing point. You understand? Therefore, they can arbitrate if it's advisable to do it or not to do it. So this is a little bit my explanation of design to cost and design cost management. Until now, I really hope that you guys understood what I tried to explain. Write down a few comments to tell me if you understood, if you think it's okay, if it's clear. And besides, if you have some questions, now I could answer to some of your questions. Why not? So here I have the computer where I can read much better all your comments. Okay. Something about the sports car perspective. The sports car perspective is different because sports cars is like supercars. They have different budgets and then they have different numbers. Those are cars that cost a lot of money. Therefore, even if you make only 2,000 per year, make sure that they make their money. They gain their money. They make money. But they have different budgets and different strategy. It's not like a mass production example, which is the one I gave you now. Why I feel that design schools should include more marketing because of it. After SCC, I had to get a marketing degree from UCLA and Harvard. Yeah, that's cool, you know. But when I was in art center, at that I don't know how it is today, to be honest. But at that time, we did have some notions about marketing and product planning, mostly about marketing. We had a teacher that was telling us about the markets and to explain to us how important was marketing and also those clinic tests, the clinic tests that are organized. However, he was also telling us be very careful about clinic tests and their results, because sometimes the people that they are interviewed in those clinic tests are the wrong ones. And therefore, a clinic test can be manipulated into its results to manipulate the project. So we got to be very careful. Of course, today is different. It's much more professional, and there is a lot of companies that are really specialized into this. In a company that maybe doesn't see the design team as important, engineering team, is it harder to convince them to go over the budget for a better design? Yes, of course. Feds, yes, it's more difficult. For example, I am currently working for the Chinese Jinbei brand, and when I was in China, I am always the same, so it's not that I change. And they were telling me, yeah, but you don't understand, we have to do this way. So this is a culture. And that culture has to change, and can change with the help of everybody. And most of all, with the help of design. Because we are there to show that there is another way to make cars. Not just cars that functions, that have all their parts, they have a cheap cost, and they are on the market. Because the first time you do this, 20 years ago, there was a different historical moment in the society. And it's normal that in China people buy that car, and you make in 1 year 400,000 sold cars. And you say, yeah, jackpot, we made it. Yeah, but the time goes and trends change and generations change. Those that did not have the driver license 2 years ago, 2 years later, they have the driver license. And they will probably have also the money, because of their parents or because they're already working, to buy a car. And they are young. And they don't think the same way of those that were very happy to have a car that was just a steel box on wheels. You understand? With no soul, just because it was very strong and could take me everywhere forever. It changes. And therefore, 2 years later, you don't do any more 400,000, but you do 50,000, which is a disaster. Because the company is at risk, and the company risks to close. This means that design is fundamental. Design must be there to accompany the company for the projects, on the projects, and make sure that all the projects that come out, they are always updated, and always online on the good wave about what society is looking for, and do better, so that can anticipate what will be the next wave. Because that means that perennity means that your project will not, your car will not last only for 2 years, but at least for 5-7 years, which is not bad. You can refresh it, you can do some restylings, but that will be very cheap to do, and the product will still sell really well, and the market will be very happy and the market will become fidel to that brand. No? Who was the teacher? Because I think we went around the same time as it. I was there in 96, 98. No, I was there in 88, 89. I graduated in 89. I started in 84, in 86. And I worked all the time in Art Center without breaks to recuperate as much as I could. I am older than you. Good for you. Thank you for the answer, Luciano. I'm very curious about your experience as a designer in different countries. Very experienced policy working as a design in other country. But to be honest, in Europe, I think that it's very similar. We all want to make a very beautiful car. We all want to make the right car for mass production, segment C, most important, the small cars. And we all want to make better quality, the good perceived quality, better materials. And we all want to do this with the most attractive cost to make sure that the competition will be a good one and we will be the winner. So basically, they are similar. And what is the ingredients, the right recipe to win all this, to win the competition? It's in theory, on a book, it's easy. It's written down, you read, you say, well, that's enough, I do that, and then it's gonna work. When you are really on the job and you start interacting with a lot of people to make that project, then you discover that the reality in the practicality, in the practical thing, is a little bit different. But one advice I can give to everybody that is probably becoming designer or it's starting to become a design manager is that behave in the company on your project just like if that project was your company project and not the company you're working for. It's, if you were the big boss. What I want to say is that I'm not asking you to be arrogant. What I'm asking people is feel like you're really sure you're doing the best effort and the best compromises for the sake of a good project and defend it, protect it, make sure that you really protect with your strategies, with your relations, that you really protect your project. Because if you do it with the honesty and correctly, you will always find some colleagues, sometimes important colleagues, that will help you to influence the rest of the team, or that will help you to push for your ideas, and therefore maybe not 100% of what you want to do will pass, will be accepted, but I would say 70% yes. And therefore means that with the passion, with professionalism, with professionality, and feeling like you're doing to save your own company, probably you will put all the best quality of yourself so that people will really appreciate the work and will fight for that project, because it will also help them to make a good project. Think about Citroen project with the Mio. The Mio is the small car, all plastic, 45 kilometers an hour in town, right? The electric car, right? DPB. I think, yeah. Thank you. Yes, 2 days ago I watched a video about the car. What can I say? I am between those that was very heavily involved with the Twizy, which is here. So wait, Twizy, and the Fiat 600. So well, I like the car. I mean, it's a cutie. It's cute. And what is very interesting is their business model behind it. So I think it's nice. Maybe it's a little bit too wide for me, because according to what I know, Twizy, it's working well because it's very narrow. I mean, narrow according to the physics, because when you turn, you will make sure you don't fall down. So the Twizy has a very good compromise in terms of width, height, and length. But anyway, I don't want to express myself too much on my competitors. Also because we are all friends, we all know each other, so it's nice. We have good relationships, and it's not nice to talk about somebody else's project if the person that made it is not present. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I never talk about other people's design, okay? Not even my other remote projects design. I don't want to do that. I am here to give you some, for what I can, some informations, some inside outs of the real car design world, so that you that are at school can think, prepare yourself, so that when you go and work or you start working, you have a little bit of an idea, very small idea, or a very small part of this car design world and car company world, that we might help you in moving a little bit better at the beginning. Things that I did not have when I started, because especially because at that time there was no social network, so no way to communicate and listen to somebody like me telling those little stories. So let's read. I like you. I'm watching you from Sudan. Hey, Abu Goma from Sudan. Ciao. Thank you for your participation. European cars are known for beauty and fluid sweeping lines. That's true. American cars for power. Yeah, muscle car, American car. It's more muscle car. Japanese for durability. Yeah, but their designs lately, it's not bad at all. How would you categorize Indian car market in that context? It's difficult because I am friend with who is responsible at Tata Design, the VP at Tata Design, Pratap Bose. I think that when I went to India the first time in my life to work at Renault India on the academy project and other projects that I cannot talk about, I found that there was a big gap in design. There was a big gap in design. I'm talking to you about 6 years ago. And then Pratap Bose arrived in Tata, and everything changed for the better. I know that there is a nice designer team. They have also a nice design team in England that is working with the India Design Studio. I'm not sure, but anyway, Pratap Bose, you can find him on Instagram, just in case you can ask him, okay? He will tell you, I'm sure, because he makes a lots of communication about the design team that he has, and the projects they make, they bring to production. Also LinkedIn. So, and I think that was a very good. There was a very good change, and it was very interesting how he was able to find the right talents. Not only Indian people, Indian designers, but also Europeans. There are some Italians, I know. So he was able to open, the culture of that company also to a more international environment that, of course, can only give very good results. So, I think that today the Indian design it's in a very good position, for sure, with a very bright future, which is for us that we have a company there and we're selling cars there. But anybody, all the competitors, it's a new thing. Welcome to the club, but it's also a little bit scary. This means that we have to now think also how we become stronger, of course. What is inspired you to design more practical cars? How you ever wanted to design supercars, Lamborghini or Ferrari? This is a classical question. I don't know if you saw the video, the 7-question challenge, design challenge that I made with many other designers here on YouTube. If you didn't see it, please go and check it. You will find it in the list of my video. Design 7-question design challenge. Okay, there is me with a 7 in front of my chest, and that's the video. Go and check it out. You will like it. It's also very funny. The 7 questions to which I give an answer, like all the other designers did on their channels, And you can find also the other videos. And this is the question that many times people ask me. Would you love to design a Ferrari or a Lamborghini? Okay, first of all, I'm not very much, how can I say? I like supercars, of course. Who would not like to drive one? And I love a lot Formula One car. And every time I can run on a car and do a stage, you know, one of those driving lessons, high-speed stuff I do. But at the same time, I don't think I would be very happy in being myself into a design studio for a big important brand that is making a supercar, because I am very much attached to what is very functional and what is really for the mass production. So that's why I always did projects like small cars, you know, like the Fiat 600, you know, cars like that, the Twizy, the LCV, like the Kangoo, you know, useful things for a big mass of people. And into that, I find a lots of challenges. So that is really my bread. And more is difficult, the better I perform, the most I like, the more I like. So I am like that. Even if I am in Italian, they should say Ferrari or Lamborghini. Even if I have a lots of respect for all the Ferrari work, especially the latest 5-6 years, it's fantastic what they're doing, okay? And also the latest Lamborghini, even if my preferred ones is the original Lamborghini Countach that was done in the 70s. I think this one is really the only masterpiece Lamborghini has so far. Okay, but sometimes supercar can be very functional. Yeah, to go fast. That's you're right. To go fast. Okay, so you know what? I think that we said everything we had to say today. I hope you enjoyed. Please share this video once it's gonna be available on the YouTube channel. Share the video, okay? Send the link via WhatsApp, Messenger, TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but if you have a way to put my videos or some extras on my videos on TikTok with a link, I don't know if this is possible, do it. We have to become bigger as a community, okay? Bigger community here on YouTube. And of course, automatically also on Facebook. I hope. I hope that you were happy with the answers I gave you, but most of all, with the things that I told you. So if you are not sure about some of the things I said, go back, rewind the video, replay it, and see some of those passages so that you can probably be sure about what I said, okay? And I hope can be very useful to you. Okay, thank you very much. I wish all of you a very good weekend, okay? And I will be back soon with another Design Talk live. Ciao. Thank you.